I never imagined that a single sentence could shatter everything I thought I had. My name is Clara, I'm 32, and I always believed that love was supposed to be patient, forgiving, and understanding. I thought my husband, Ethan, understood me in ways no one else ever could. We had been together for 6 years, married for 3, and to everyone around us, we seemed like a couple who had it all figured out. I thought I could push the limits of his patience, tease him about my past, and he would always stay. But that night I learned just how wrong I was. It started as a casual evening at home. Ethan had been unusually quiet all day, scrolling through his phone, barely engaging in conversation. I chalked it up to stress at work and decided to lighten the mood. I poured us both a glass of wine and sat across from him on the couch, my mind racing with playful, harmless thoughts that, in hindsight, were far from harmless. "You know," I began with a teasing smile, "you'll never replace my ex. Let's be honest, he understood me differently. He got me in ways you never will." I expected a laugh, maybe a sarcastic comment, maybe a playful eye roll. I didn't expect the cold, silent weight that immediately filled the room. Ethan didn't even blink. He didn't reach for his wine, didn't shift in his seat, he just stared at me with a quiet intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. My own words echoed in the space between us, louder than I thought possible. I laughed nervously, hoping to break the tension. "I'm kidding," I said. "I mean, come on, you know I love you." But love wasn't enough. That night, his silence spoke louder than any words could. I tried to make small talk, to redirect the conversation, to make light of the tension that had settled like a heavy fog. But Ethan didn't move, didn't respond, didn't acknowledge my attempts. Every joke I made, every smile I forced, was met with the same unflinching quiet. I started to feel it then, that icy, inexplicable distance that I had never seen in him before. Hours passed in a blur. Dinner was silent. The background noise of the TV did little to fill the emptiness that had settled in our home. I kept testing, trying to provoke any reaction, any sign that he would break the silence. "Seriously?" I said at one point, leaning closer. "You're not even going to say anything about that?" He didn't respond. Not a word. My stomach knotted with the first real pangs of fear I had felt in years. By the time we moved to the bedroom, the tension had built to a suffocating level. Ethan didn't follow me in the way he usually did. He stood, quietly collected, and waited. My heart raced, but I couldn't stop talking. I wanted to justify myself, to explain that it was only a comment, only a joke, only a passing thought. But as I spoke, the truth of my words settled in my chest like a stone. For the first time, I realized that maybe, just maybe, I had pushed him too far. Then it happened. Without a word, without hesitation, Ethan turned toward the door. He grabbed his coat, picked up his keys, and walked out. The sound of the door slamming echoed through the apartment, louder than I could have imagined. I froze. My mouth opened to speak, to call him back, to beg him to stop, but no sound came out. The echo of that door closing marked the end of our normalcy, the end of the patience I had always assumed he had. I sank onto the bed, wine glass trembling in my hand, realizing that I had no idea when the last time was that I had actually respected him in the way he deserved. Every careless word, every teasing comment about my past, every comparison to someone who no longer mattered, had built a wall between us brick by brick. And that night, he walked away, silently but unmistakably. The hours that followed were filled with panic and disbelief. I called his phone, texted him, but the responses never came. Each unanswered message felt like a hammer striking against my chest. I replayed every moment, every phrase I had said over and over, searching for something I could have said differently, something I could have done to prevent the inevitable. But the truth was simple, and it was painful. I had underestimated him. I had underestimated the depth of his self-respect, the strength of his boundaries, and the quiet power of a man who refuses to be diminished. By the next morning I was exhausted, both emotionally and mentally. I watched the door, half expecting him to come back and explain, to apologize, to assure me that love could survive even this. But he never did. He had made a choice, silently, decisively. And for the first time, I understood that some choices aren't about anger or passion. They are about self-worth, about the realization that no one should ever feel less than they deserve. I sat alone, staring at the empty space where he used to stand, feeling a mix of fear, regret, and clarity. I thought about all the times I had laughed off his concerns, all the moments I had trivialized his feelings. And now, as I tried to grasp the enormity of what had happened, I understood that the silence, the slamming of the door, was the loudest statement of all. He hadn't shouted, he hadn't yelled, he hadn't stormed. He had left, and in leaving he had shown me exactly what it meant to respect oneself, to demand dignity in the face of carelessness, to protect one's own heart even when it meant breaking someone else's.